is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is a band that I don't think enough of you knew about back in the day. The name of the band, of course, was Jetboy. That was from their Damned Nation release. That was Ready to Rumble. And a guy that is always ready to rumble and is back rumbling again after a very, very long time away. It is the guitarist of Jetboy. It is Billy Rowe. Billy, how are you, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Excellent, man. Dude, I'm just going to tell you, first and foremost, it is great to see that you've decided to bring Jetboy back, man. To me personally, as a fan, and I'm 50 years old, so I'm right in that age range, I thought you guys with Feel the Shake and Damnation just did not get 1 ounce of the justice that you deserved, man. I wore those records out, especially Damnation. I wore that record out. And it's just a crime, I think, that, and you guys aren't alone in that. There's a bunch of bands that are in that similar vein, but there were so many of you guys that were super, super talented, but because you weren't that homogenized thing that a lot of the other bands were, you just didn't get the love that you were due. Do you agree?
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, we feel the same way, you know. I mean, it was, you know, we had a lot of obstacles. I mean, it's the music business. So once business got in front of music, you know, things change, you know, and you back then major labels and all that stuff. So there was a few reasons that I feel, and a lot of it comes down to timing, you know. Mm-hmm. The band was originally signed to Elektra Records in 1986.
Okay.
And Feel the Shake was recorded and finished in 87, ready to come out on Elektra Records in 87. And towards the end of the year, they cleaned house at the label, which is something they did back in the day then, and we got dropped. Right. And after we got dropped, we did get interest immediately, and the record was picked up, but it took, you know, roughly around 9 months for everything to get ironed out, to, you know, shift over to MCA. They bought the masters from Elektra, and, you know, 9 months back then was a long, long, long time.
Sure.
And we just really, I think we just lost a lot of momentum, and we went from the beginning of the race to the end.
Right.
And I think that's really kind of in gist what happened. So we became a band that, for the mainstream people out there that didn't grow up in LA and the Hollywood scene, and, you know, where we all came from, GNR and LA Guns and Bastard Pussycat, we just looked as a follower, a band that just came along later. And I really feel that's what happened, you know, because at one point it was the bands that were ruling the scene after Motley Crue, Rat, and bands, you know, bands like that who went on to mad success was Guns N' Roses, Jetboy, and Poison, and then LA Guns, Bastard Pussycat. That was the gang, those 5 bands, you know.
Right. Yeah, and even though now you know, obviously a lot of time has passed, and you know, people have changed. It seems like this kind of music went out of favor for a while. Now it seems like there's a big retro movement going on where, you know, a lot of this music is finding its audience again. And you guys, there's a collection of bands that I can think of off the top of my head, bands like Badlands or Junkyard or Love Hate, Vain, you guys, Babylon AD, that maybe because you weren't burned out to so many people, that now people are discovering, you know, these classic albums and going, God damn, this was really good music. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, you know, a lot of people who did grow up on that, you know, or people who did grow up on that era had kids, and, you know, they probably grew up listening to their parents listening to that music. And, you know, there was a whole wave in, like, the early 2000s of the 80s rock, you know. So, but, you know, good music is timeless. So, you know, that's why I still listen to my favorite bands that I grew up to as a kid, you know, classic Kiss and Aerosmith and Cheap Trick and, you know, Stones and all that. So, yeah, it's good. I mean, I think right now with the band, we're just, you know, having this new record about to come out. You know, we haven't done a full-length record in, you know, 28 years.
Right.
So,
sure.
That's a long time, you know.
It really is. You guys have surpassed the infamous Guns N' Roses Chinese Democracy by a lot. you know.
Right, right.
Well, let's talk about this record, Billy, because the record is called Born to Fly. It is a if you were familiar with Jetboy, it's not going to feel foreign to you, but at the same time it does not feel old or dated or anything either. It's a very fresh, very rockin' and very cool record, man. It's hard to believe that there was so much time in between releases, and you guys still were able to maintain, I don't want to say the sound because obviously it's, the three core guys, but you were able to maintain that same vibe that you kind of, left with. And that's a cool accomplishment after that much time.
Yeah, I think so. And when we got the offer, came out of the blue. We've always talked about writing songs, and we have a little bit. We had an EP a few years back that came out, but never like the whole thing of like, okay, new record, 10, 12 songs or whatever. So we got the offer. There was really no hesitation. It's like, yeah, let's do it. This will be great. And then it sunk in of like, oh my God, it's like we got to write songs. We were kind of scrambling for a quick minute, but everything just rolled out real easy, and our whole thing was like, we're just going to write a rock and roll Jetboy record. I mean, that's what we do. That's what we're known for. We don't need to try to reinvent or prove anything. All we got to do is do what we do best, and that's, we're a stripped down, straightforward rock and roll band, and I think, that's what we did. We've all grown as musicians and writers, and so a lot of that, I think, came into play big time with the record. But for the most part, it's just, keep it simple and, not try to reinvent things or be like what's hot at the moment.
Right.
And, when the review just came out in the LA Weekly, which was amazing. The guy who wrote it did a phenomenal job. But I think one of the best parts in there was that they didn't try to do anything different. They kept it straightforward, just like the Rolling Stones and AC/DC. They know what they're good at, and just to be,
right.
It's at Rolling Stones, AC/DC, and Jetboy. I'm like, going, okay, well, that is the biggest compliment of all time.
Yeah, that's good company to be compared with. That's for sure, man. Well,
absolutely.
Was it difficult? Not necessarily. I know it's not difficult when this is what you do, to write songs, but I guess really the question is, did you guys have to get to like know each other? I mean, have you been in touch for the entire time, or did you guys have those 5 and 10 year spurts where you didn't hear from each other? Or I guess just explain how the relationship was and how you had to kind of build it back in order to write and record Born to Fly.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've been playing shows for the last, I don't know, since I think 2006. We basically got back together, and we were a working band off and on, just doing a couple festivals, spot shows, a few shows a year, nothing major. We did an EP in 2010, Off Your Rocker, 3 new songs, a couple live tracks, same thing, few shows a year.
Right.
We've all been, pretty close through all the years, when we didn't do anything for 17 some odd years after Damnation. But, again, when this offer came, it was just perfect timing.
Sure.
We were ready. You knew we wanted to do something, but really didn't know how we were going to do it. And this made it a lot easier to like, oh, wow, well, we got the support of a label and actually pressure to deliver a full record in so many months, so
right. Now,
it was awesome.
Now, how did that come together? I know Frontiers and Serafino are well known for putting projects together or asking for projects to come together, and they've had success with that. But I mean, I'll just be honest, as a fan looking in, this doesn't feel like, I don't know, Revolution Saints. Not that I'm shitting on that, but just in that feels like a project. This doesn't feel like a project. This feels very, very organic and very, very, 4 guys in a roomish type of a vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's good. That's what we did. I mean, realistically, we sat down and, when it came to the songs, there was like 1 or 2 that I had and one that Nick and I had written just a couple years ago, demoed it. I got really into recording with the Logic program, and So when it came time, we were thinking of rehashing some old riffs that we had. And then, I don't know, we just started writing, and everything on this record is brand new, and it just completely came out of us super easy and organic. And then we demoed every song down to the shaker we wanted to have on songs, and then we went and recorded, and we set up in a room and we played live. We recorded all these songs through an analog board into Pro Tools, and got the best take we could.
Sure.
And so it is exactly that. It's four guys, as in the band part, four guys, and then Mick doing vocals on top. That's how we did it.
Right, exactly. And that is such a tasty thing to a person's ears these days, to hear something that just sounds, A, it sounds like a band, and B, you almost kind of know that if you go see a show, that it's not going to sound completely different. When you do, you can just tell that this is a rock band playing their rock music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is, that's what we all grew up on, and you did too. I mean, you grew up in the 70s and 80s. That's how, and especially in the 70s. I mean, that's how records were done. They were done in 3 weeks' time. Some of the greatest records of all time were recorded in weeks, and not a lot of, trying to fix shit. It's just, you just kind of just go for it and just put the passion out there and the attitude and capture it on tape. That's why all those records that's why they are classic, because they're real.
Yep, exactly. And when you went to see those bands, you didn't hear something completely different. You went and saw the Stones. I've seen the Stones, even into the more recent Stones albums, and they still sound like the Stones. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
Well, Billy, one thing that I read, and I'll assume it's true, but you can tell me more than anybody, is that the songs are very personal, specifically the lyrics, and that maybe is a little different than what you guys did, a million years ago when you first came out, that you're writing, obviously life experience type stuff. Does that to you and to the band, does that give it more of a lasting feeling, versus songs like I just played Ready to Rumble, that's just, let's go kick some ass tonight type of a song. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can't, for me, I didn't write all of the lyrics. It's all Mickey's. When he comes in, he writes all the lyrics, but I could definitely say that, it was from where we were 30 years ago to now, all that life experience that he went through. He just became a father a few years back, and some, with 2 kids now, and just, our struggles through life of ups and downs. And I think a lot of that did come out of him lyrically, and I think it's the best stuff. I think it's the best stuff he's ever done, and the best stuff the band's really done.
Sure.
And I mean, musically for me as well, just as a writer and just a player and all that with Fern, both of us. It's just Fern and I sat down to record the songs, and it was so fun. It was fun and funny and just everything.
Sure. Now, for you as a guitar player, certainly, the instrument itself and everything about it has changed. The way amps sound, the way, that you might use effect pedals, all that stuff has changed. I mean, the instrument is sort of the same, but everything around it that goes into making music seems to have been enhanced since back in the day. As a guitar player, do you look at that and think that that's good? Or do you look at that and think that in the end it kind of dilutes, what at its core is, learning to use your fingers and learning to get feel from your hands, to create the sound that you initially are trying to achieve?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I'm a believer of hands-on for sure. Play the music. I know there's a lot of stuff you can drop in riffs and stuff from these programs and all that, and there's the interface stuff with, guitar tones of amps and everything. And, I'll use that stuff to demo. Mm-hmm. But when we did this record, it was, Marshalls and Friedmans and, Vern's got a 2-rock with, some of the boutique amps, but they're very throwbacks of old school 70s amps.
Right.
And we mic'd them up, and we didn't use any of that stuff of the simulated guitar tones or anything. These were all through an amp and into through a mic in a isolated room, and dialing in the tones of what we felt were right for the songs.
Sure, definitely. Now, Billy, what kind of expectations do you guys have or put on yourselves for Born to Fly? I mean, obviously the industry is completely, upside down as far as what is successful in sales and that type of thing. Do you guys put any sort of expectation at all, or do you just hope that people hear it so that they'll come out to a show, or what do you guys look for?
Yeah, I mean, I guess everybody in some way has expectations and hope of stuff. You got to have that hope and belief. But at the end of the day, we've gone through a lot, and just being older now, it's like, yeah, we're just going to take it as it comes. Like we said, when this record comes out, let's just let the record dictate what's going to happen, and not try to force things or anything. It's like, because you really can't.
Right.
And I think some of the greatest music back in the day were all, I don't like to use the word a fluke, but it's kind of how a lot of stuff happened. The unexpected band and record ended up being this massive seller by just being at the right place at the right time. So, hopefully that happens for us in some sort of way with this record, that is just, that's all you want when you write music. You want as many people to hear it and enjoy it, and, people to dig what you do.
Right. People to know the words and sing it back to you at the show, right?
Yeah, I mean, with the bands I grew up with, I still put on Kiss Destroyer and Toys in the Attic and Heaven Tonight, and it does the same thing to me as it did when I was a kid.
Right.
And if we can do that to a generation of people, with our music, whether it be an older generation or newer, hey, that's huge. That's what it's all about.
Sure, definitely is. Now, Billy, what kind of touring or touring opportunities will Jetboy have, to promote Born to Fly? Are you guys gonna get a chance to go out, or maybe just fly-in dates or local dates, or what does it look like for you guys?
Well, we just did a New Year's date in our hometown SF with Junkyard. We've got we're doing the Viper Room here in LA for a record release show, and then we're doing the Monsters Rock Cruise. We're putting feelers out there, kind of just I think realistically, because everybody's got their lives to live and work,
right?
To do some fly-in dates first, and just kind of see what starts to happen, and then everybody's ready and willing to adjust their personal life schedules to do what we got to do to make things happen and give time to this record in the band, because we just feel this is the window's opened again, which sometimes doesn't. So we got to take advantage of the chance of opportunities that come our way. So hopefully somebody will, who knows, who might hear and go, hey, let's bring these guys out for a couple weeks or whatever.
Right,
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Let me ask you one old school one, since you brought up San Francisco. I just curious, as somebody that I used to live out there for a while, the Omni or the Stone, and why?
For me, and definitely for Jetboy, would be the Stone, because we played it more.
Okay.
And it was in the heart of where we all met, which is San Francisco. The Omni was Oakland.
Right.
We did play the Omni. I think we only played the Omni maybe twice,
okay,
believe it or not. But we played the Stone dozens of times. I think our third show could have been at the Stone.
Okay.
With Death Angel and Wasp.
Nice.
But that would be, and that's where we hung out. The on Broadway, the Mabuhay, the Broadway Strip. That was it.
Absolutely. I know. I used to hang out a lot at the Omni. I used to hit that side and hang out there a lot. And honestly, as a kid, which I was at the time, 19 or 20 or whatever I was, it was cool. Both of those places, the coolest thing about those places was that you could meet bands that you were like seeing on MTV. You go in there and Jim Martin from Faith No More or Zakk Wylde or somebody would be just hanging out at the bar, man. It was always, those two bars were like the coolest place ever for a young kid anyway.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the Omni's very well known for a lot of, East Bay definitely had more of the metal
Right.
that came out, which I grew up with all those guys, my buddies were in those bands, so, but the Omni definitely had its, just like Ruthie's Inn, another dive club that was very well known for what came out of there.
Sure. Absolutely, man. Well, Billy, the new record, it is called Born to Fly. When is it out?
January 25th.
Okay, excellent. So another week or so it comes out. And where can people go online to keep up with you or Jetboy and, get the record, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, of course you can, order the record on, it'll be on iTunes, Spotify, all the downloads, Amazon, and Frontiers. You could buy through them as well. And then we have our, the JetboyRocks.com website. We have everything is Jetboy Rocks, Facebook,
okay.
Instagram, Twitter.
Right.
And, there's pre-orders right now. The album's out in a week from tomorrow, so January 25th. And it's actually going to be a limited run of red vinyl, the gatefold album, which is pretty cool.
Sure.
And yeah,
awesome.
So all over the internet.
Perfect. Well, Billy, as always, it's great to speak to you. It's definitely great to have Jetboy back. And as a tradition on the show, we always wrap up each interview by letting the artist pick a closing track from their new record and maybe tell us a quick story about it. So, what would you like us to wrap this one up with?
Let's see. Well, we could go with, what do I want to wrap this up with? Let's just wrap it up with Born to Fly, the title track of the album. Our first album, the title track was the first single and video. So, I think just the title of it, along with the band name Jetboy, goes well together. So, it's good, straightforward, really speaks of what the band is really all about. It's a straightforward rock and roll band.
Excellent. Well, let's check it out right now. It is Jetboy. It's Born to Fly right here on your Classic Metal Show.